So, if you're anything like me, you got into coaching because you love people, you love helping, not because you love marketing. But perhaps in the last few weeks, maybe months, maybe even years, you found yourself marketing more than you have actually been coaching. And perhaps you're stuck on that vicious circle of needing more clients to get better at coaching, which means more marketing, more sales, which you don't feel aligned or doesn't come naturally to you. And for most coaches, especially heart-led coaches, which is who I work with, marketing isn't natural. And most heart-led coaches are terrible at marketing because marketing requires us to be manipulative, to convince. And if you feel like you've followed all the marketing advice out there that's on Instagram, on YouTube, and you feel like you're losing your essence, losing your soul, and perhaps the marketing advice you are following isn't even working, and you're starting to question, is this even for me? Can I do this? Well, in this video, I want you to breathe in with me and let out a nice big slow exhale. Because in this video, I want you to really see a new way of marketing and sales. One where you can relax, one where there's no thinking, one where it's more about who you are and understanding who you are and getting to that and sharing from that authentic, congruent, aligned place. Because when you really market, create, sell from that place, everything in business becomes so much more fun, more aligned, more easeful, and you'll attract dream clients. I created a client recently for 10 grand, and he said to me, Joel, you get me, you see me, and I trust you, and I trust how you think. And that's kind of the goal, my goal for you after this live stream. It's my first live, by the way. That's my goal for you, is to really find a new way of marketing, one that feels good to you, that feels aligned, that feels good to your heart and your soul. So let me take you back to my very first year as a coach in 2020. I was really impatient. My first business prior to that was a food tech business, which I raised £1 million for. And we just got that after 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears to a point of product market fit. And if you're in the tech space, you'll know what that means. But it basically means the point at which you can scale your business. And COVID hit, essentially wiping out our business, my business, in a matter of months. And it left me broken. It was the best thing that could have happened to me, though, because it kind of forced my hand into coaching. Prior to that, I trained to be a coach, to lead my team, my business via coaching. I just knew it was how I wanted to manage. And as I trained as a coach, I realized this is how I want to lead. But this is also my calling to coach. So as my business failed, I knew this was the nudge I needed, and I stepped into the world of coaching. Now, as I say, I was seriously impatient, and I also didn't really know how to build a coaching business. So I fell prey to all the marketing ads, all the Instagram advice that I was following, and I just kind of started losing myself in all these tactic and strategies. And I kind of forgot what I got into coaching for, helping people. And I started to see people as numbers. Anyway, I got eventually suckered into this ad promising me the whole 6 figures in 6 weeks. And it was to build out this classic guru marketing model, which was a low ticket to medium ticket to high ticket funnel. And it's not to say that model doesn't work. It absolutely does. But it wasn't right for me at that time. See, that model requires traffic, which I didn't have. I had a tiny social media following at the time. So I had a sunk cost bias, meaning I wanted to chase my losses. So I took out a credit card and I pumped traffic through the funnel using ads. And I could see myself going deeper into the red, but I could see myself getting to the point where things would turn. But the problem was I went so far into debt that I couldn't weather the storm anymore. And I had to just hold up my hands and say, I give up. I can't continue this way anymore. But I wasn't ready to give up on coaching. Coaching, as I say, was my calling. And if you felt and heard that call, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And I took out the only money that I had made from that funnel and invested it into a coach, a guy called Alistair Gray. He's still my coach now, beautiful soul. And he reminded me about who I am, who I have become, the things I've gone through, the challenges, the transformations. And he reminded me of the essence of coaching, which is about connection. It's about service. It's about enrollment, which I define as inspiring, awakening people to greater possibility of change, awakening people to their full potential. That's what enrollment is. So that's what I went about and did. I just simplified everything and went about connecting and enrolling. Really that simple. And within 4 weeks, I'd created 4 2.5K clients. I then went on to create and fill a group coaching program for 12 men called 63 Days to Personal Power, each paying me again 2.5 grand. There was no fancy funnel. There was no manipulative tactics or strategies. There was just pure, authentic connection and enrollment. And I've realized in now working with hundreds of coaches, helping them shift from the old way of manipulation to the new way of effortless magnetism, effortless enrollment. There are a number of big mistakes that coaches make that keep them from connecting at the level that I'm talking about and creating aligned clients with ease. The first mistake is seeing people as numbers. One thing I say to my clients is imagine just 10 or 20 people in a room, your ideal clients. Do you think you could create clients from those conversations? Do you think you could transform your business from connecting with those 10 to 20 people? And of course, it's like a resounding yes. And that's how I want you to see every number as a person. Social media it's a necessary evil and it's an incredible opportunity. But the danger of it is that we forget behind every like, behind every comment is a real person with real challenges, real desires, real dreams. But coaches forget that often through no fault of their own, through falling prey to these marketing tactics and strategies where it's all about numbers, it's all about attention, it's all about going viral. And they forget the essence of coaching, which is connection, relationship. No coaching contract has ever been created outside of a relationship. So I really want to invite you to start seeing every number as a human with human problems, human desires, human goals. When I started seeing every like, comment, follower, that hit me. And it drives me. It really does drive me. I'm all about depth, not width. The second biggest mistake that I see a lot of coaches that keeps them from connecting with their audience at the level that I'm talking about, which is outsourcing their self-worth. And this is something that I very much fell prey. In my earlier days of coaching, I didn't really believe in myself, especially as my first food tech business was failed. I had very low self-worth. So I outsourced all my self-worth to others outside of me, to likes, to engagement, to metrics. Now, what happens in that process is that I sold my soul to others and I started chasing likes, chasing engagement, chasing virality, chasing a sale, chasing clients. And you can kind of hear the energy of that chasing. Like even as I say it, I feel constricted, I feel needy. And needy is creepy, right? Needy pushes people away. So when we outsource our self-worth to others, that's what happens. We literally push people away. Now, through the lots of inner work and lots of self-acceptance and lots of stepping into my wholeness, I have incredibly high self-worth now, and I don't outsource it to others. Sometimes I forget, of course, I'm human, but I rarely do. And because of that, the content I create, my enrollment calls, are from a totally different energy. Hopefully you can feel that energy in this YouTube. Like, there's no part of me that's trying to get to you as a client here. I'm just here to serve. I'm here to tell the truth because I'm so sure of my self-worth. I don't need you to like me. I don't care. Actually, that's the wrong way of saying it. I care if you like me, but I don't mind if you don't, because I'm so sure of my own self-worth. Hopefully that makes sense. The third is dumbing yourself down, playing small and filtering out. Again, this is something I fell prey for. And this for me was driven by the fear of being misunderstood. One of my greatest longings, needs in life, which I'm working deeply on, is a need to be seen. And I think it's true for most people. There's this great need to be seen, to feel understood, to be felt. And the opposite of that is being misunderstood. So for me, the fear of being misunderstood manifested in playing small, dumbing myself down, not sharing my deeply held convictions, not sharing my wins, not celebrating myself because I didn't want to make anyone feel inferior. And I remember one of my mentors saying something to me which totally shifted everything. He said, "You've got to love people so much that you don't care what they think about you." Breathe that in. Now, this doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. I have been misunderstood by people very close to me. I've even lost one of my best friends, from being misunderstood for a story that he was telling himself about me that wasn't true. I felt the pain of this, but there's nothing I'm not willing to feel. And in that, I've really found that actually I would prefer to speak my truth, to be misunderstood by some and not to be understood by a few, fully understood by a few. So I hope you can hear that. Encouraging, inviting yourself to feel the pain of being misunderstood, even if it's a projection, even if it's a story. Take that, feel it, know that it's not true. It's not to gaslight yourself, right? But in doing that, you'll start to filter yourself less. You'll start to play bigger and you won't dumb yourself down. The fourth biggest mistake that keeps coaches from this level of connection I'm talking about is underfeeling. Underfeeling. So I remember once we were on a men's retreat. It was a 7-day men's retreat, and it was a very, very powerful 7 days, one that shifted me forever. And on the first or second day, when they were explaining the technology of sharing circles, my mentor said something that shifted me forever. He said, if you think it's your turn to share, it's not your turn to share. Stay down. If your heart starts beating, you start sweating, you just feel this charge inside of you, just get up, trust that charge and step in the middle. And I trusted my mentor deeply, and that's what I did. The first time my heart started beating, I stepped up and I got in the middle, and I had no idea, no planning of what I was going to say, but I moved this energy in me. I did some shaking, I got grounded, and then I shared totally authentically. And it was the first time really that I expressed with no filter. I expressed with so much authenticity. And what I was met with was pure love, connection. And it's a moment that shifted me forever. And it's really how I am now told how authentic I am. There's nothing I'm not willing to feel. My feelings get me closer to my truth. And often with content creation, I just ask myself, what's alive in me at this moment? And I follow that. a little exercise for you to do is look back at your calendar the last week and ask yourself, where did you have strong emotions? Where did you feel strong? Where did you feel anger? Where did you feel excitement? Where did you feel alive? Because our emotions unlock deeply held convictions. So we can start to explore those feelings, explore those beliefs. And deeply held convictions leads to great content. It leads to standing for something. It leads to breaking away from the vanilla bullshit that we see online and actually being someone that has an opinion, that has real conviction in something, because that's what leads to connection. But the what prevents us from that is underfeeling and overthinking. The next biggest mistake is performing. I see it all the time, especially on LinkedIn. I see my clients, I know their essence. I know some of them are really playful. I know some of them are quite edgy. And then you see them online, you see them on LinkedIn, and it's very formative. It's very performative. It's like there's two different people. And my strategy with content is to really, what you see online is what you get. If you met me in person, you will realize that for most parts, the stuff I put out there is who I am. That is at least my goal. I try and remove any performative measure and be as authentic as I can. And it's actually why I'm now doing these lives versus recorded YouTubes, because I want to be as authentic as possible. And I realized that sometimes when I record YouTubes, I sometimes get into this weird presenter mode. Maybe I'm doing it now, but I'm trying. That's my goal. That there's no performance. There's just this raw, authentic expression of who I am. Performance is felt. Like, I'm not sure, well, I'm sure you've experienced it, right? Where someone has been speaking to you, or perhaps on stage, and you just realize that this was all a performance, that they were sort of putting this on and you just didn't feel them. Performance creates a wedge inside of us. It's the antithesis. Is that even the right word here? It's what prevents real connection. So stop performing, start being real, authentic. The second to last mistake is perfectionism. Again, it's linked to this performative idea, but a lot of coaches are held back by this idea that they need to be perfect. They need to have it all figured out. They need to present this, this picture perfect person who has everything figured out. Bullshit. Again, perfectionism creates a wedge. It prevents connection. And as I say, connection is what leads to trust. Trust is what leads to a sale, that leads to a client. Many of my clients say to me, the reason why I signed up to you is because I trust you. There's something about you, your authenticity, your energy, because I don't pretend to have it all figured out. In fact, I don't have it all figured out. I'm working with a coach, have done for years, because I don't have it all figured out. I'm working on some deep wounds still, some I'm not enough wounds, some like limiting beliefs. I'm still working on all of that shit, just like you are. But the difference is I'm willing to embrace my imperfectionisms and still put myself out there, because I come back to I'm willing to feel anything. The final mistake is being attached to the outcome. And this is kind of linked to that first of sort of seeing people as numbers. But what this creates is this very needy energy where we are, pushing, and we're attached to the sale, and we're attached to what content means. And what that leads to is kind of just losing our essence, losing our soul, chasing the likes, chasing the engagement, chasing the clients. And that chasing, as I say, just pushes people away. So what all of this does, what all of these mistakes do, is get in the way of connection, which I believe is the new currency in today's world. It was once money, it was then oil or data, and then it was attention, they say. But I believe it's connection. I believe it's authenticity. With the rise of AI, I think we are really seeking like depth of connection, realness, rawness, authenticity. I've certainly seen it with my own YouTube and my own content. The more raw, the more real I turn up, the more people feel connected to me, more people trust me, the more my business grows. It's why I've chosen to do these lives. It's why I choose to do daily recordings on YouTube out my morning walks. People are craving connection. They're craving to be seen. They're craving to be understood. They're craving raw, real, unpolished, unfiltered versions of who you are. So all of those thoughts of I need to be perfect, I need to be performed, are the very things that are keeping you from connecting with your audience, and your audience trusting you, liking you, and eventually investing in you. So what does this actually mean? What type of connection do we need to build, and how? So in the last few years of helping hundreds of coaches in growing their business in a very simple way, I've realized there are 3 levels of connection that you need to create with your audience. When you get these 3 right, everything feels easeful, aligned, congruent, and your business will start growing. And it will, as I say, feel pretty effortless. So the first level is the level of the heart, and I'll explain each of these in a minute. The level of the heart. The second level of connection is the level of the head. And the third is the level of hands. So let's go deeper into these. So the level of the heart is about your clients feeling seen, understood. It's about an emotional resonance with you. And how to create this level of connection. It's not about going external to us. It's about knowing who we are. The same rules of dating really apply to business. Now, I haven't dated for a while. I've been married to my wife for, I shouldn't have committed to saying that, 8 years, 7 years, 4 years, 5 years. I actually don't know, but I've been with her for 9 years, I think. So married for 4 or 5. Whoops. Hope she doesn't watch this. But the same rules to dating apply to business. And the more you know yourself as a person, the more magnetic you are. So connecting at the level of the heart is not about going external to you. It's about knowing who you are. This is about knowing your values. This is about knowing your vision and living aligned to that. This is about pursuing your vision, pursuing the life that you want, like really want. And this sounds all nice and fluffy, but I can assure you this is really where the work is, in knowing who you are and pursuing that. I remember there was a moment with my content really took off and changed when I was listening to Alex Hormozy actually on a podcast, and he said the reason why you're an imposter is because you are an imposter. I was like, wow, that's pretty good. But what I took from it, right, is that I was talking at the time about stuff that I wasn't actually living. I was talking about stuff that was kind of stuff I was learning that wasn't my truth, that wasn't authentic to me. And it became my strategy from that point to only share my truth, to only share what I had lived that was authentic to me, because then I just couldn't be wrong. And my business model became, my content model from that point was go and create my dream life and share how I got there. And that still is my content model to this day. I'm just pursuing unapologetically my dream life and just sharing how I'm solving it, sharing how I'm getting there, and assuming that with, 8 billion people in the world, that a lot of them will likely want a similar life to me. And sure enough, my people are finding me. Like I said at the start, that recent 10K client, he's like, you get me. You know, I trust you. That's what this does. It's about knowing who you are. And again, I'm sure you've witnessed the power of this, someone that you just resonate with. And maybe they don't even say the best things. Maybe they don't package up themselves in that fancy way, but you're just like, there's something about this person that I need to be around. I certainly have. And it's because of this emotional, this heart resonance. And I'm sure you've also heard or seen people who said all the right things, but you didn't feel this heart resonance, this emotional resonance, because they were speaking at the level of the shell. I call it the shell identity. This is the person who they think they are. When you communicate from that place, It's all about manipulation. It's all about tactics. It's all about, it's just all about the ego. And it really isn't that resonance there. But when you speak from who you truly are, what I call your core self, from your heart, that's when you can get away with not saying the best stuff or the right stuff, but people feel you. People have this resonance, heart to heart, subconscious to subconscious. This is where you really create lasting impact and influence, communicating and connecting at the level of the heart. The second level to connect at is the level of the head. Now, this is about showing your audience a new way of thinking. This is about facilitating those aha moments, those paradigm shifting moments where one day your client's walking this way and you say something, they're like, whoa, I'm going the wrong direction. I need to go this way. And when you facilitate those big aha moments, those paradigm shifting moments, those insights, your audience will forever connect you to that aha moment. I'll give you an example of this. So there's a term that I've coined called fear in fancy dress. And I'm sure you could probably feel what those words mean. But in many of my videos, especially when I talk about turning pro, I talk about how fear shows up in fancy dress, like in the ways of over-organizing things, of playing with your website, of playing with your logo, playing with your colors, all these things that feel good. They feel like you're making progress in your business, but you and I both know they're fear in fancy dress. Now, when I've said that in the past to my audience, to my clients, they've been like, that's what that is. And they can then call that out in those moments. This is just fear in fancy dress. I even have my audience, my clients say, this is fear in fancy dress, isn't it? They've even used it with their own clients. They will forever associate me with those words. And that's the goal with connecting at the level of the head. It's about changing people's way of thinking, shifting their beliefs, and connecting big ideas to tension they're feeling in their body, but they can't quite put words to. When you start to do that, when you start to facilitate those aha moments, those paradigm shifting moments, you will connect at the level of the head. This is also about knowing what they want. This is about intelligence. This is about knowing what they're looking for. And it's about using intelligence, I suppose, to create that connection. The final level of connection is hands. And this is about enabling your audience with simplicity. This is about creating simple action steps. This is about the logic, the mechanism of your offer. Because connection isn't just about feeling, it's about doing, it's about logic. Some people will just want the logic. I've had many clients who are like, show me this systems, Joel. Yes, I trust you, but show me your systems, show me your action plan, show me your mechanisms. What's your model? So we also need to acknowledge that many people are different. Well, all people are different in their learning and their different connection styles. So this satisfies that need for people who want more logic, who want to know the steps, but it also enables people. When you can create models, mechanisms that simplify how your client can go from point A to point B, again, your audience will associate you with that plan and associate you with that simplicity. People are drowning in content currently, like drowning. There's insane amount of content out there. But what people are starving for is context. This is what connecting at the level of our hands does. It creates context. And again, when you provide that context for someone that they start using, they will associate you with that. So every time they think about it, they'll think about you. So these are the three levels of connection: the level of the heart, the head, and the hands. Now, these three levels of connection also align with Aristotle's model for influence, which is ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is, again, about emotional resonance. Pathos is about the path. Logos is about the logic. So this isn't just me making this shit up, but it is what I've noticed after working with hundreds of coaches and In October, I created a 50K month, doing 30 this month. My business has grown pretty effortlessly. Like this year, I haven't even focused on growth. I've really just been focusing on service, on my community, but my business has grown relatively effortlessly because I have created these 3 levels of connections with my audience. I've created this authentic emotional resonance with people because I show up as me, raw, real, unfiltered, not dumbing myself down, sharing my deeply held convictions, shooting lives, shooting YouTubes, out for walks, doing Instagram stories, letting people into who I truly am, my values, the fact that for me, life comes first, way before business. I'm unapologetic in that. That's level of the heart, the connection level of the heart. I've also I share my deeply held convictions, my way of thinking. I've created big ideas that, again, facilitate those paradigm shifts in people. I help people think in new ways. That's what I would encourage you to think about there in that content style. Is don't tell people what to do, tell people what to think. And then the final level of connection is about the hands. This is about enabling people with action steps, models, mechanisms. And you'll see in my content, I enable people with those models as well. And that is my goal, is just to continue simplifying all of this process so that you can get back to what you love, coaching, and not spending hours marketing and hours trying to figure this all out. When you actually market and grow your business this way, it's super easy. This is about accepting who you are. You can't think your way into this way of marketing. You've just got to accept, you've got to relax into it, and you've got to let go of any agenda and just start being who you are. Of course, there's some thinking in the mechanisms and the logic, but the majority of this connection just comes from really knowing who you are, accepting who you are, relaxing, letting go of the agenda, and just being here now and being of service in this moment. Like that's all I ask for. Sorry, that's all I ask myself, is how can I be of service? My goal is to give more than I ask. It's really, really very simple. And 3 levels of connection: heart, head, hands. Now, I'm going to be going to way more depth into this, into how we connect. We're going to be looking at offers, mechanisms, models, and content. And we're going to be building out a content plan for the next 30 days in a 2-part workshop that I'm running next week on the 17th and 19th of December. Yes. Now I'm running this for my community already, which means there's going to be no gatekeeping, no fluff, no hype. It's just going to be pure value. And I'm going to pop the link to it below. And I hope to see you there. We're going to go into so much more depth and we'll really unlock how to build and grow a coaching business with connection at the heart of it. Connection being the fuel, not attention and numbers and virality, but depth of connection. Connection leads to trust. Trust leads to influence, authority, and lots of money in your bank account. I hope to see you there. I'm sending you so much love and thank you for watching.